Let's get that out of the way. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder featuring Guna Matters and Apollo 101. And we are live with the Back Five podcast, Monday night. Apollo, my man, how are you doing?
I am doing really good. I'm elated, happy with the way the season started, and I cannot wait to get stuck in it's just like a full flow of football that we've got to face now. So many games, so many fixtures, so many different competitions. It's a good time. It's a good time to be an Arsenal fan.
It is a great time to be an Arsenal fan. So, just for apology's sake, we are having a bit of a problem with one of our panelists. He is going to come in as soon as he's sorted. But in the meantime, we are going and we're going to take it away. So, let's do this.
Yeah, a little bit of Gremlins. It's Halloween coming up tomorrow, guys. So the Gremlins are already at work with the stream at the moment. So bear with us. Bear with us.
There we go. The three students. I mean, what a big impact these guys have had, eh?
It's been like that for most of the season, where this shows you what it's like to have a strength in squad, with something which we've never really had before. And while these guys are coming on doing their thing, what's important is that there are players on the bench who are actually resting. The whole feel of it feels great, and it just feels like we've never had this complexity of a squad to play with before, and the benefits are so good in
Yeah,
terms of the rotation. And remember, we about a month ago, not the last stream, the stream before that, we were all challenging Arteta on his man management and saying, is he going to get the rotation right? Is he going to step up to the plate and rest these players? And since then, he's done just that, Glenn.
you did. Maybe he's watching the shows, bro.
Well, I gave Arteta's wife Lorena my YouTube channel links,
Oh
so
yes, yeah. You
maybe.
sat next to her in the last home game. Yeah, lovely, man. Yeah, so they had a very impactful game, and just once again, just want to apologize again. I mean, we're supposed to start at half past 7 UK time because of all the gremlins, as Apollo says, that has happened. We were forced to obviously push it a bit back. So yeah, so it was an amazing time. Sorry, that's the wrong one.
What
It's
was your
amazing.
prediction on this game? Mine was 4-0.
Mine was 3-0. I had
Oh,
a 3-0 on this game because I knew because City struggled. City won them 2-1. I think Spurs came from behind and two goals, 2-1 also on the injury time. So I
yeah.
thought there are somebody to struggle with. But then again, the narrative is Haaland didn't play against the Sheffield United full backline, but I mean he couldn't really penetrate them with a 2-1 scoreline. And I mean we got five beyond them, even though Apollo we started the first half pretty bad, eh?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether you saw my video. I do a game vlog every home game. And when I did the report on that, I kind of knew which way the fans were going to sway and
Yeah,
flex
yeah,
to. So when I did my halftime report, which is I get out of my seat, I run down to the stairs, and then I shoot the video there, I actually warned everybody what was the context behind it, because obviously this is new for Arsenal fans. So my video actually stated that a lot of the teams, well, let's mention Man City in general. Man City plays a lot of their games like that, where they just come out of the blocks very slowly. They only go into second gear, and then they allow the game to come to them because of their quality. They don't have to go hell for leather and go 100 miles an hour, because you've got all these games to play in all these competitions. It's just like a boxer. If you go out in the ring as a boxer and you're throwing haymakers like crazy in the first few rounds, what's going to happen to you in round 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10? So,
correct.
so when I said that at halftime, it was really to let Arsenal fans know, what's the point in rushing? What's the point in pressing the hell out of these guys when you've got the quality to overcome them? So be patient. and the game will come to you. So that was my message in the game and my video vlog for
Yeah,
those
yeah,
of you who sees my content online. And exactly how I said it was going to work is how it played out.
yeah. But it seemed at times there was a bit of a struggle just to get that bit of a flow on Saka and like Martinelli in itself. He was a different game, so I thought maybe the armband for Saka isn't it a bit too heavy?
It is, but I think what was key here is that there was a lot of players that hadn't played together. So the mix is always different. This was the first game that Smith Rowe had started for in the Premier League, so it was one of those things that just really resonated with us having to be patient. And again,
Yeah,
it's something the fans wasn't used to. So, and we're
yeah,
going to find a lot of that for the fans. We're going to be going into new territory in so many different ways with the system and everything else. So again, it's just a learning curve. Remember, Glenn, when I talked about David Raya against Man City when he
yeah,
was baiting them so that we can, so we can do anti-press, the counter press. But the
yeah,
fans were on him because he took too long to play the ball out. But that was by design. That was Arteta's tactics. So there's certain things that fans are just not used to that we're just going to have to pick up.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, Collins is saying Nketiah 10 out of 10 ESR better than Harvard's as at the rusty at the rusty start. And a well over year 50% Tomiyashu is pushing to start over Zinchenko. Just to park it a bit with Tomiyashu, every time this guy either starts or he plays from the bench, he has been so impactful. I mean, there is nothing he can do wrong at this stage, Apollo.
But you see, this was foretold because when we first bought him, which was from Bologna in Italy, he had
Mm,
outplayed. I remember in his last season, he played Ronaldo off the park.
I saw that
Ronaldo
game,
was
yeah.
Ronaldo was at Juventus. In the two games they played him, he took Ronaldo out of the game. In the first season at Arsenal before his injury, Tomiyasu was said to be one of the top three right backs in the league. He was a stud for us, and I think somewhere along the line, Arsenal fans have forgotten that because he's been
Mm,
injured, he's not been dependable. But last season, when we started him against Salah against Liverpool, he was man of the match. He took
of
Salah out of that
course,
game.
of
So for
course.
me, we're seeing the exact type of qualities that he's showed and displayed to us previously before. It's just because he hasn't been getting a run in the team, we just forgot about it.
Yeah, but I mean, for a Japanese international, a lot of them, especially the backline, does not get recognition that the way they should. And I mean, even him in an Arsenal shirt, both a lot of Arsenal fans, and I've rated him when he came in. I didn't know about him, but I've rated him when and a lot of Arsenal fans does not rate him still. I mean, even though giving the performance he's given every time that he has played, a phenomenal player. And then, of course, Mr. Eddie Nketiah. I mean, you are a fan of Eddie. You've
Big time.
always spoken well about him, and yeah, he silenced a lot of critics. Still, people are saying he's not good enough. He's not the one to take us over the line. But I think Eddie is slowly getting into himself again.
So there's something important there, and this is twofold. The statistics tell us this is a good player who's delivering. And for the fans who don't want to hear that, they always use appearances
Mm,
as a metric, which you can't because there's something like 30 games that he's played out of the 96, I think. So a third
yeah.
of the games he's played, he only came on in the last 5 minutes. So how can you metric a guy and say, oh, he's scored X amount of goals and he's had all these games? No, he hasn't
Mm,
had the games. You judge him by the starts, and that's the reason why when we talk about Nketiah now, his record is 19 goals in 36 Premier League starts. That's his career. But in the last 2 years, 13 goals in 25 starts. So that's one every other game. And a lot of people, I'm reading the comments in the chat here, And if you got a guy who could score once every 2 games on average, that's a decent
That's a
striker.
decent, no,
Yeah.
definitely, that's a decent return though.
But the other thing that I looked at, which I put on the forum, you're on our forum as well, is that when you actually looked at those goals and the stats that I talked about, 13 goals, 25 starts, he
Mm,
actually for non-penalty goals, he actually scores more goals than Ivan Toney. Because when I
yeah,
talked about Ivan Toney, he had 6
yeah,
penalty
remember.
conversions, last season. He's had 27 penalties for Brentford. But when you take out those, Eddie actually scores more goals than Ivan Toney. And these are the stats. That's what it shows. And
But
I think
mind you, you're talking about goals other than penalties. I've not seen Eddie taking a penalty in an
he
Arsenal
doesn't.
shirt yet. No,
Yeah,
he doesn't
that's
because
it. He
he's not
doesn't.
he's obviously not the first choice for penalties. Either
Exactly.
Saka, Odegaard, and whoever.
And I think that the biggest thing, and this is where the fans who are not Eddie supporters get themselves mixed up. The way they talk about him as if he's Arsenal's starter. He isn't. He's a squad player. He
Yeah,
always has been. And what he does when he comes in is he does a trick. He stepped in for 9 games last season, scored 4 goals when Jesus was hurt. The season before that, when Lacazette had delivered only 2 outfield goals for the entire season,
and he came
Eddie
in.
came in and scored 5 in the last 8. So for the
Yeah,
last 2 years, he's delivering. There's, that's not disputable. He's delivering. But where the fans are getting confused is they're talking about him like he's the savior. No,
yeah,
he's Jesus's backup, guys. He's a
yeah.
backup. Yeah,
And
no
and
one's
and
talking about him. Yeah, and hold on, Glenwyn. The thing I thought about today before the show, and I wanted to also say, I can't remember a backup ever getting into the English national team as a striker. When was the
yeah,
last time that happened?
yeah. No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And the narrative about Eddie is like people say he's not good enough, he's not performing. But you know what? He's played brilliant against. He didn't score against Spurs, but he did very well against Spurs. He didn't score against City as when he came on, but he did well. At Man United last season, he scored 2 goals and he continued playing this year against them with so much passion. So, how could people say? I mean, I was a very big critic of Eddie myself. I would say he's not good enough, but he has changed my whole mind about him. When I thought I'll give him a chance, the same with us, Havertz. When I decided to give the player the chance, looking at it a different perspective, it gives you that sort of calmness about and looking at what he does if even if he doesn't score. And I think the fans have to come to that point where they're gonna have to look at the player with not with critique but with the ability that he has, what he's doing in the team, and not with what we expect him to do. And that's very important where the fans are going wrong and criticizing every player. I mean, look here what Eddie's doing. Every time Jesus is going out, he comes in and he does well, even though sometimes he doesn't score. And like you say, scoring every second game, that's a good return for a backup player, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's I don't know what our fans are doing, but it's not uncommon. I've seen them do this with Theo Walcott. They never rated him. Walcott is the
Yeah,
14th highest scorer of all time for the club, and he's a Centurion. And when you look at the goals he's delivered, you have to go into the Ryan Giggs type of, Raheem Sterling, Song, Mahrez. Those are the guys that have achieved 100 goals in the league. That's the level that Theo brought us. But when you talk to an Arsenal fan, they'll say, "Nah, he was rubbish."
yeah,
So we're not. This isn't, it's conducive of Arsenal fans' behaviours. We're
yeah,
used to them downplaying, especially British players. We're talking about British players here. If you had somebody like, if this was a foreigner that Arsenal bought, they wouldn't be talking about it like him like that. But because it's
Cor-
it's a British player, he's a Hayland boy, another one from the academy. He has such a hard time from the fans, and it's like, what is going on? He's not even a starter. He's doing this as a backup, and he's delivering the goals. And I think it's awesome because here's the big thing, Glenwyn. Here's the big thing. Arteta is seeing him practice every single day. Why do you think he's playing him?
Exactly. He's doing it on the behind the scenes. We don't
Yeah,
see those things. And
exactly.
and then, I mean, getting the armband from Saka when Saka went off. He scored a very, very beautiful goal to complete his hat trick. And then there's a penalty. You could have been, I think, the third or fourth player in an Arsenal shirt to get 4 goals in one
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
And he gave that opportunity to the daddy now there in the center. He's now, his child was born yesterday, late yesterday afternoon or
Yeah, that's
something
right.
like
Yep, yep.
that. And also in his post-match interview, they asked him why didn't he take the penalty. So he said, "Nah, you know what?" And that is what they do: the family vibe, the
I love it.
cohesion, the brotherhood. It's just amazing how these guys. I thought he's going to give it to Havertz just to get Havertz back in it, but obviously, lo and behold, there's another father to be at that time to kick it. And what a great penalty from Vieira.
It is, and I think the whole team wanted Eddie to take the penalty because only Ashavin and Henri have scored 4 goals for the club in our history, in our entire history, and it was a good gesture for him to give the ball to Vieira. It really was, and that just goes to show how close a network these players are. They care for each other. I remember when they were talking about Alex Ferguson's treble team for Man United, and they were saying like Teddy Sheringham didn't get on with Scholes and Beckham didn't get on with and it was like
Yeah,
there was a whole turmoil in the club. Alex Ferguson and Beckham had the fight as well in the locker room, Pizzagate, and there was all this stuff going on. And you look at the synergy in our team, and it's just like such a great, mature family environment. And then you hear things like the players and their wives going over to each other's houses, having dinner and things like that. I love all that stuff.
yeah, that's family, man. And I mean,
Yeah.
I saw a post, I think, on Twitter yesterday, on X or whatever, that when they announced that Vieira's baby was born, they say that Arteta is turning all those guys into family men, though.
Yeah.
So that is a good
That's
thing. I mean,
awesome.
becoming a father and being part of a brotherhood like that in the camp, it's amazing. I mean, it's only good things because you talk the same language. It's just amazing. I mean, there's no real explanation how it happens. I mean, Arteta has got a huge hand in that, and big ups to him, man.
Yeah, I just look the whole game and the way the game played out was fantastic. Now you got to remember, Man City played Sheffield United, and they only beat them 2-1. And
2-1, yeah.
Haaland scored 1 goal. But Arsenal fans are kind of playing it off like it was an easy game, and so if it was that easy, someone's left a comment here saying, if getting a hat trick in the Premier League is easy, why is um, why isn't players doing it every single week, especially against the bottom teams? I don't see guys
Yeah,
getting hat trick against Luton Town and Burnley and them guys every week. Where is it? I don't see it.
yeah. I mean, Haaland also didn't score a hat trick for quite a while now. I mean, he has been drying up in goals. Yesterday he scored 2, but every time an Arsenal player does well, they wanna sort of compare it with a City player, perhaps.
Yeah,
Um, Haaland, like you say, scored 1 goal against Sheffield United. Son, not Son, didn't even score against Sheffield United. It was Richarlison, I think, scored both games,
that's
both
right.
goals or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, and he came off the bench. So Eddie has played the entire game, did very well. Besides his goals, he just did very well. He was my man of the match
yeah,
in and out. So we're gonna go into the next segment quickly,
yep.
and you obviously saw the Tuesday night's game. Um, we spoke about it the last time, and we all said it has to be we have to win, or it has to be a good game, whatever the case may be. Are we gonna stay there now on top?
Yeah, yeah, I think we're going to stay there on top because that game was one of my favorite games of the season because we hadn't won an away game in a Champions League since 2016. If my memory serves me, That was a goal where Alex Iwobi and Lucas Perez scored a hat trick in that game. That's how long it goes. That's a long time ago. But for me, Declan Rice, brilliant, brilliant, and he's just showing his value to Arsenal Football Club. With his engine, he just keeps on going. He's like the Energizer Bunny, and
Yeah,
he's offering so much support in attack, in defense, and he's just constantly keeping the game going with his engine. And it's just it's just such a joy to watch him just play for the club. And you know what, he might win Player of the Season if he carries on doing this because he's already had 4 man of the match displays. But
he has,
I
huh?
loved it. Yeah, it was. If you look at the tilt field in possession for the first 80% of that game, we owned it. We didn't even give them a chance.
Yeah, no, we did well. I mean, even in the Europa League, the last time we went there, we didn't do well either because I think
Mm,
Arteta threw in the kitchen sink as well. I mean, we tried our best, and I think it was what's his name, that Portuguese youngster that was on left back. I think because
yeah,
Tierney was on sick leave. Bless his soul. But yeah, we did a very good game, and what a game from Jesus! I mean,
yeah,
that is the Jesus that you want to see every time. Eh?
yeah, yeah.
Um, Beautiful control, beautiful turn. He scored a beautiful goal himself. It was just an amazing game to see from him. I mean, that is the guy that the reason why we bought him is to come out and do that.
Yeah, and remember when I showed you that list that said the top 10 Premier League
Then,
strikers in goals and assists over 90 minutes? That
mm,
game showed you why he's on that list because it's not just the goal threat, it's the creativity and the I mean, I don't when was the last time you saw an assist like that from an Arsenal player?
beautiful.
The way he just dominates the midfield. He loses two players when he switches it and turns them, and then the two defenders in front of them, he slips the ball right through the middle. So
Yeah.
in just a couple of moves, he's taken out two midfielders and two defenders. That's four players. It's just
In
absolutely brilliant.
in fact, he got an assist like that in the United game. Remember where
Yeah,
Vieira gave him the similar balls through the middle, and he just ran and he let Dallo slide. He's probably still sliding. Um, and Martinelli, always a willing runner, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is a guy who's just coming back into fitness as well, and so we're going to see a lot more from Martinelli. But the one thing that I did want to say is um, that game against Sevilla spouted a little bit of controversy with Ramsdale and Raya, and it hasn't died down. It's still there. The fan base is talking about it, and I said when I did the preview of the game over the weekend against Sheffield Wednesday United, I said that Ray is a starter, and unfortunately, guys, it's not going to be a situation where he makes a mistake and then Ramsdale comes in, and the reason for that is because Ramsdale's not playing the way how Arteta wants him to play. And the game against
Mm.
Man City, when I talked about Raya being able to bait Man City, hold on to the ball, and try to suck them in. Whereas when Ramsdale did it, he broke down and forced the ball out, and of course it came straight back to us, and that's what caused us losing 2 goals last season when we played him. So because Ray is doing what the manager wants to do, that's why he's in there, and that's why it's not a situation where Ramsdale can come straight back in because he simply is not offering the manager the style of football that he wants to play. And fans at the moment are kind of not really getting that.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I have said it every stream that I've done, every stream that I've been on this back five. You know what? I would love to see a difference from Raya. But again, you know what? If you can't beat them, you got to join them. So I've made my peace about it. It's not gonna go away. It's not gonna go away in the media. It's not gonna go away from the fans. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So if I can't change it, why go against it? So just
And
suck it up and get behind the team and the play. And I mean, every time I've done that, I see it differently. So it's not gonna go away. We don't have any control over those type of things.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's you look at the statistics and you look at Raya over the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's been one of the best goalkeepers, statistically, yes, but I mean just the eye test and everything. So the fact that he's coming in here, he looks a bit wobbly. I do agree. Let's all put our hands up, but he'll
Yeah,
settle down. And once he settles down, because for me, I think it's just like big team. Uh, this is a big team for him. This is a massive move, and he's got to step up to that plate. So we're seeing a little bit of a wobble on the mental side, but once he gets over that, he'll be absolutely fine. Let's not forget, though, guys, that Ramsdale's made plenty of mistakes, and especially last season, in the last 7 games of the season, we all know what happened in his personal life. But before that, he was erratic. He was making mistakes. Luckily for him, only 2 of the mistakes cost him goals, especially the one in Southampton after the first 30 seconds,
yeah.
60 seconds. But let's not pretend that Ramsdale wasn't erratic and didn't make mistakes, because that's the reason why another goalkeeper's been brought in. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, guys, and we have to trust what the manager's doing.
Yeah, and also this is something that I wanna just I'm gonna put you on the spot now. Are we gonna pay the 30 million for him end of the season?
So, for me, I did the maths on this a long time ago, Glenwyn, and I said that you buy Ramsdale for 30, you buy Raya for 30, and then you sell Ramsdale for 60. So the money wise, it equates that you've actually got Raya, who's a better goalkeeper, and 30 million. That's what you've ended up with if you sell Ramsdale next summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that the plan would be to sell Ramsdale, because he's 24 years old, he's young, he
He still
knows.
have to get into his prime,
Yeah,
sure.
he's got to get into his prime. He knows, and I know this from my sources at London Coney. Ramsdale's being such a professional about this, because he's put his hand up and he knows that he's got flaws in his games that he has to fix. He knows he's not the number one right now. He knows that Raya has a better skill set than he does, and Ramsdale has taken it upon himself to improve his game. Yeah, and that means that he can either stay at the club and develop. Raya's doing a lot with him out there on the training ground, and Raya's helping to develop him as well. So he's in a good situation. But if he wants to go to another club who needs a goalkeeper next season, then fine, sell him, get 60 million, and then you've earned 30 million and Raya in your goalkeeping situation over the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win for Arsenal, right? It's a win-win.
There's a question in this twofold message. The chicken is going to fall off the basketball very soon. And the big question is, what do Arsenal do when City applies the pressure at the end of the season?
So there's
That's
two
a
things
simple
there.
answer.
Yeah. I mean, there's two things. First of all, we've got the squad that we haven't had for the last 2 years to deal with the drop-offs everywhere across the pitch. If you look at the depth chart, goalkeeper, centre-backs, right back, Tomiyashu can play left back or right back.
And in the middle.
And in the middle. If you look at the situation now, there's no Thomas Partey, and you've got a situation where Jorginho is filling in, and we've got El Nene, and I do trust El Nene. I do, yeah. We've got him waiting in the wings, and we've also got a situation where we've got 2 number 10s. We've got 3 actually. We've got Vieira, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe.
That's Smith Rowe.
It seems like everybody can play at the number 8. I don't know how many 8s we've got. We saw even Jesus playing at the number 8 the other day.
Trossard plays at number 8.
On the right hand side, we've got a plethora of players. We've got Trossard, we've got Martinelli, Jesus can play there on the left. We've got Nelson who can play on the left, and you go to Saka's side. The same players can rotate over there. Jesus looked amazing on the right against Manchester City, and then up front you've got Nketiah, you've got Havertz and Jesus. So we've got depth everywhere. And the other thing that's more important, and this is the main thing really, is the 6 pointers the games against Manchester. This is the first time we've beaten Man City in 8 years.
Yeah,
And
12
so
games, huh?
yeah, so that 6-pointer, you're switching that around already. So if you go to the Etihad and you get a draw, guess what? You've taken 4 points off the champions. If you go to the Etihad and win, you've taken 6 points off the
6
champions.
points.
So yeah. And let's also remember this is the most competitive Premier League season that we've seen in terms of points per start. So it's not going to be easy for City. It's not going to be easy for Arsenal or Liverpool or Spurs. It's hyper competitive. So yes, City could make a run when they get De Bruyne back, but I just think Arsenal are in the best position they've ever been in order to counter that.
And then this is this is something very, very. I don't think Havertz had a bad game on Saturday. And he was quiet. There was moments that you didn't see much of him, but when it mattered, I think he actually did okay. He didn't do too bad.
Yeah, look, okay, so I wasn't Xhaka's biggest fan, but when he started to turn it on last season, the whole fan base got behind him. But before that, he had 4 terrible years. Terrible. And it just goes to show you how this fan base can be so adept at supporting and getting behind their players with the love and support they showed Xhaka last season. So
Yeah,
so let's put our cards on the table now, guys. The reason why I'm supporting Havertz is for those reasons. He had a torrid time at Chelsea last year, and it must have knocked his confidence. I know, again, personally, from the people I know at London Coney, that he was mentally broke from what happened last season, and Arsenal's offered him a lifeline, and it's going
yeah,
to take time for his confidence to come back. He's already feeling like he belongs at the club. He's 24 years old. But it's not just that, guys. Where I'm coming from this is we need to get behind and support all of our players. And a player who's dear to my heart as well is Zinchenko. I don't think he's had the best start this season. I don't think he's played well this season.
yeah.
So
It's not.
yeah, so it's not just Havertz. There's a lot of players that have got room to grow. And look, guys, we've not even hit our best form yet. We're nowhere near it. and we've played 10 games, won 7 and drawn 3. And we're
Yeah,
not even we're not even in our ceiling. So there's more to come from Havertz, guys. Just get behind him.
and
I agree at the number 8. He's been average, but when he plays at the 9, his hold up play has been tremendous.
there's this picture that I picked up, and I mean, what do you see wrong of this picture? Well, a lot of people probably would say it's wrong, but I see something there in that picture.
What,
If you
that
look at
Havertz is not coming over congratulating him.
there's this little smile on that face, there's a grin,
Yeah,
um, but he's just viewing it as, you know what, that is what I want to feel. I want to
yeah,
see myself in that position. You know what I mean? Just the
yeah,
sort of admiration and all sorts of things. And like you say, a lot of people would say what you maybe have said, that he's not coming over to celebrate.
mm,
But I see it differently. He's just admiring the sort of feeling that guy has gone through now. I mean,
yeah.
he's at a penalty, but this is an on like out of normal play, a goal came, and what a amazing time. But that was just something that I thought I'll put in there.
Yeah, and I do want to say, Glenwyn, that again, if you're watching it from the television, then it probably won't show you the whole emotion of the game. He was really enjoying himself out there on Saturday. Havertz started off the game at the 8. He switched. Smith Rowe and him switched, and then Smith Rowe was at the 8, and then Havertz was at the 10, and then Havertz switched with Saka. So Havertz was playing wide right, and then he went up top for 5 minutes as Eddie dropped back. So
Yeah.
Havertz was having a lot of fun in that game on Saturday, and it's really good to see him smiling and being part of the team.
All right. Sorry, we've seen that. The sample said, Colin, let's hope it's not gnashing of teeth. How's it, Alex? You should be having a ball there in South America or Central America, man. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Alex.
How you
Hope you
doing,
have a good
Alex?
time there, bro. Let's just go into the next one quickly, which is I'm probably gonna we're gonna probably park it here for a little while.
Yeah, before we do that, Glenwyn, there's a question here from the assemble saying, "Do you think Havertz's problem could be homesick?" No, as I said, I've got sources at London Coney in various departments, and it's definitely just the confidence, and it's definitely, and you've heard Arteta say that we're having to help the players with their lifestyles, with their confidence, with what they do in their personal lives, and all the things that they suffer in life with, and also loneliness,
Mm,
and things like that. So Arteta has said that for a reason. And the reason why is because of all the stuff that goes on with Smith Rowe. And for those of you that are fans who are not aware, that Smith Rowe suffers with quite a lot of mental illness and confidence issues. He's the complete opposite to Nketiah. Nketiah's confidence is out of the roof. He's one of the most strong-willed players on the team, according to Arteta. He does not back down. He does not bat an eyelid. And in terms of mental toughness and fortitude, Nketiah is up there at the top of the chain in the team. But
yeah.
unfortunately, not everybody is like that, guys. And when that's the case, you have to manage that. You have to get your arm around the player. You've got to, do more than a manager would by helping them with their personal life as well as the what they do on the pitch. And Smith Rowe's been the person that suffered from that. We know what happened to Ramsdale with his wife in a miscarriage, and
Hmm.
Havertz has gone through that as well. So there are these reasons why we're
We
seeing these
see it
things.
on the
That's
pitch.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's another question here: is will Arsenal's bubble burst?
Ah, Glenwyn. You know what? I thought about this in the car today, and the first thing that sprung to mind is I remember in the summer there was fans that were saying last year was our best year to win a title because we will never be able to get off to a good start and win like we did. Well, guys, guess what? We're right where we need to be. We're unbeaten. We're literally having a start that is maybe better than what we had last season, in many ways. And it's the evidence is there to say that we are just as good as we was last season. The difference was when we had the same amount of points this season as last season after 10 games. Last season we were banging. We were easily playing the best football in the team in the league. But this season, I can't say we have. I'm saying we haven't even scratched the surface of
Yeah.
what we can do. And to
And
me, the best player of last year, Thomas Partey, he ain't even played in the
yeah.
last 8 games.
And that's a lot of people. I mean, if you look at the post match interviews from the opposing managers, they all still saying that you know what, this is not the Arsenal. They haven't reached their peak yet. They're playing well. They're a tough team to break down. They're a tough team to contain, and also they still have to get to that next gear. We didn't get to a second gear in this game on Saturday. We played well. We just went through the motions, and eventually everybody understood what they needed to do. And come maybe the away fixtures where we're gonna go to Old Trafford, when we're gonna go to the Etihad, where we're gonna go to Spurs. Those are the games where we're gonna see the difference that the people want to see. Those are the games we're gonna go. I mean, our away form is very good. So
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
so we need to keep that in mind as well. All right, we're gonna get back into the. We're gonna come back to that if we can. So yeah, this is the last 10 games that we've played opposed to last season. So we had 9 wins and 1 loss at this stage, 10 games in, and we're at 27 points. I'm not sure I didn't miss anything there. That's right. And then we've got 7 wins, and you said it earlier on, 3 draws, and now we've got 24 points. I think those draws is 2 draws, 2 draws is games that we've won last season, which
I
is the
think that
derbies.
I looked at the table, and the one thing that's disturbing is this, guys. If Jesus buries that goal against Spurs, where
It's a
he
total
was,
different game. Yeah,
yeah, then we're top of the league. If
yeah,
Liverpool doesn't get cheated out of VAR, against Spurs, we're
Spurs.
top of the league.
Yeah.
So, guys, we have to put this into context there that we're not even playing our best, man, and we could be top of the league so easily. And obviously this season is going to be way. I mean, Liverpool are in it, City are in it, Spurs are in it, Arsenal are in it. We could be joined by more teams if this carries on. Villa is playing
Aston
really,
Villa,
really well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, they doing well, man.
yeah. So I'm really happy where we are because we are built for the final third. That's what we're built for. We're built for getting strong. We're going to have Yuri and Timber back. Party's going to be back from African Nations Cup. You know, all these different factors. And we got the January transfer market. I think we're going to have a real strong finish to the season.
No, definitely. And I mean, if you look at the consistency against the games against Palace, against United, against Bournemouth,
Mm,
all right, we didn't have Sheffield last season, and obviously Chelsea, we didn't play in the first 10. So our games this season, the only games that worried me was the Tottenham game and of course the Fulham game,
yeah.
where that was the only two, and then of course the Chelsea game. The Chelsea was just brilliant against us. Um, pardon me. We are playing. We're playing this weekend.
This weekend we got Newcastle away.
Newcastle. Yeah,
That's going to be tough.
that's gonna be a tough game, but
Yeah.
they are beatable, man. All they do is they come at you fast and they come at you quick.
Yeah.
We just need to contain that. We just need to obviously have White, and probably I would put Tomiyashu on that left hand side
Agreed.
to contain that youngster from Mikhail. What is his name? Miguel, that number 24.
Yeah, I mean
He's very.
they've got Almiron in there.
That's
Um,
Omran that I'm talking about.
yeah,
Yeah,
they've got
he's
Almiron in there.
on that right wing. Yeah, and
Yep, yep.
if you're gonna play Zinchenko in that game, there, he's gonna kill him. I mean, Tommy's got a bit of a pace still. Zinchenko doesn't have. He's got a sort of a snail pace.
Yeah.
So,
I,
and then
I,
of
actually,
course,
I actually think we match up better with them this year than we did last season,
yeah,
especially with
definitely.
someone like yeah, because they haven't got somebody in the midfield who can handle Declan Rice.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, Bruno Gumares or something like that. He's if you give him a foul here and there, he's gonna get a yellow card, and he's not gonna foul you again.
Mm.
You will get you a red card eventually. And then of course the pacemaker on the other side against Ben White. You think he's gonna contain what's that youngster, number 10, Gordon.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a pacey one there.
Yeah, I mean, I've often thought to myself that Zinchenko and Ben White are going to be looking behind their shoulders because Tomiyasu's coming for Zinchenko. And quite frankly, Tomiyasu could come for Ben White. You know, when Ben White's form dipped, I actually thought that Tomiyasu should have started um, against Sheffield Wednesday. I actually thought that this was a game you could rest Ben White with. But then Yuri and Timber's coming back as well. So no one's safe, man.
Not if he goes like that. I mean, if he continues like that, then they're all gonna be Ben White and Zinchenko. They're gonna have to really watch it because it's gonna be a Tommy and a Timber type of fullback situation. Because he is really doing well. Here's a thing from Cam. West Ham think we gonna pretty strong. Think we're gonna be pretty strong. Ramsdale will start. Gabriel at the back. Jorginho at 6. Havertz forward with either Saka, Martinelli starting Nelson. I think you must still give Odegaard just a bench again
I agree.
and still keep on with ESR. ESR need a bit of a confidence there,
Yeah.
or even Vieira for that. So I think the two of them has to really get into that mix of rotation very often.
Mm.
Do you think Eddie's going to sit out this one?
At the moment, tomorrow morning. I'm going to be talking to my girl at the medical, department, and it's all predicated on that. It's going to be if Jesus is going to be fit for Newcastle, Eddie will start tomorrow on Wednesday. But if Jesus is going to be injured and miss the game due to the hamstring, then Eddie is going to play against West Ham and probably, or they might put Havertz at the number 9 against West Ham and then play Eddie on the weekend. So a lot of it has got to do with the results they get back in tomorrow morning from Jesus.
And I think if Havertz is playing there in the 9, their defense is Zuma and that other guy. Not a very good pairing at this stage for West
Yeah,
Ham. They are struggling. I mean, youngsters like a Ollie Watkins can come through them easy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
with the aerial strength of Havertz, he can obviously do some damage there, keep the ball up, maybe push it through the wings and that sort of thing, or even turn and take a shot himself. I'd like for him to just take shots from the box and outside the box, just to get a bit of confidence for Havertz, though.
Yeah, I've just seen Cam put another message on there about Cedric. Look, guys, Cedric is just he doesn't fit into this team, and sometimes he's done all right as a player. He's sometimes he's been okay, but he just doesn't fit into the mold of the team. And at the moment, that's the reason why we've seen him play for the under 21s, and he's just not an option for the team. So I don't see him. I'd be surprised if he played on Wednesday. I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, I think even he only got about 5 minutes in the Champions League last time out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you forget Aston Villa? What a great coach. Yes, he's a very good coach. Do you believe Arsenal can lift the level with these constant streams of niggling injuries? I'm sure they can because with what we have, I mean, if you look at Partey hasn't been playing. Yes, we have missed him, but even though he's going to go to the African Cup of Nations in January, we're still not going to really miss him that much because we've sort of kind of get over it without him, isn't it? So
Mm.
it's the same with the other. I mean, we've had Timber out for most of the season so far, so we've managed.
And
But
Party.
and Partey, so we've
Yeah.
managed without them. So I think we are capable of doing something there.
And guys, let's remember we've not had Martinelli for 6 or 7 games. And that
Fully
meant that
fit, yeah.
yeah, and Jesus as well. You know, Eddie's had to start 8 or 9 games this season already. So, and a lot of that was obviously because of his injuries, and the other part was because he was filling in for Martinelli. So it's all over the place at the moment. We didn't have early injuries last season, and we're having them now. And that's the reason why I'm saying we haven't even hit our best form because before last week, we hadn't even, I think, before last week's game, we had only played 21 minutes with Jesus up top, Martinelli on the left, and Saka on the right. We're in like coming into November, and our front three has played less than 100 minutes. That's mad. So it just goes to show you how much more is to come from us.
Yeah, and yes, as Cam is saying, Jorginho, Nene, central midfield, surely Nelson, ESR, Vieira, Trossard to start until it's clear how long Jesus will be out for, and we need to be a bit more careful with Eddie. Yes, I agree. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I wouldn't start Eddie in this game because of we're not sure if Jesus is going to be available the weekend. So therefore, Eddie needs a bit of rest, and you're going to put him on the bench if you have to bring him on a later stage to do something. But I think Eddie needs a bit of a sit back, yeah. And then there's another, yeah.
Yeah, there's another one by Emerson. Emerson, that's a good shout. If you guys go to my YouTube channel, I've actually put a poll up saying which academy player do you think that we should be playing against West Ham, and this is really what we've got to do. And for me, Sagon Jr. he had his moment in the last round against Brentford, but I think in this game it's time for Kozia
Walters.
Dubry. I
Oh,
think it's yeah. I think it's time for I think it's time for Kozia Dubry in this game or
no,
Ruel
that
Walters.
That's Emerson. That's your nephew, isn't it? So Emerson, I think that's his nephew. Yeah.
Mm.
And then of course, this is my point. The injuries can disrupt the rhythm and consistency of the team. Yeah, you're totally right there, assembled. But I think the way we're maintaining it now and managing it, surely we should come out to our benefit, though.
Yeah, and you have to look at Man City have lost De Bruyne, their best player, for 4 months. And look where Man City are. So Arsenal have lost a variety of players: Jesus, Martinelli, Thomas Partey, Yuri and
Saka, one
Timber.
or two games. Saka
Yeah,
was a game,
so
so
we have to do the same thing. Arsenal right now battling at the top of the table. So we can't. Before we could have those excuses because we had a weak squad, but now our squad is strong. There's nobody ain't crying any tears for injuries. The other our rivals don't care.
obviously they don't because they believe they've got injuries as well. So I don't think
Yeah,
they're gonna. Partey is not there, so Partey is not there. So what?
yeah, and that's where
Um,
Spurs will struggle. When Spurs, you're going to see Spurs crying tears coming up to Christmas because when it comes to injuries or suspensions, they've got no squad at all.
yeah, this is the youngster that I thought could also maybe come off the bench for defense if we have to. Maybe defend 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever case. This youngster, I think he's pretty strong in contention for future. I like the way he plays. I like his body positioning. He's similar to a Martin Keown type of player, I believe. But yeah, we'll hope for him to obviously get his chance as well. And then, of course, we obviously spoke of it now, but everybody is not here to give their predictions. Apollo, you're always the first one to give yours. Um, it's a game where we're going to have to take some seriousness into it because it's a cup game, and I'd like for us to get some silverware this season, whether it's the league, whether it's this cup, or whether it's FA Cup, or even UEFA. I'd love to have something there.
Yeah, I do want to say first of all about Arsenal is the last time we was knocked out at this stage was against Liverpool in 2019. Remember that 5-5 game where
Yeah.
Martinelli just was
Oh,
terrorizing them. So that was the last time that we got knocked out at this stage. And look, for me, guys, and in the end it ended with penalties. But for me, I think that you should have enough quality near Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, who was the one who got us through. He scored the goal against Brentford. And again, more minutes for El Nene, please. I think West Ham's going to go with a strong lineup in this game because West Ham's failure, I think this was the first game they played on the weekend where they failed to actually score a goal against Everton. So,
yeah, they have
not
been
score.
scoring every game. Yeah,
Yeah, they have been scoring every game, and that was with a home match. To draw a blank in a home match, and also I think Alvarez and Paqueta got bookings, didn't they? But
yeah.
I actually yes, because it's a cup game, guys. So their ban doesn't actually start till next week, next weekend's games, which means they will play on Wednesday night for anybody who was worrying about that. But yeah, I think for me, I would definitely be go with Ramsdale, White, Tomiyashu, Gabriel, Kivior. I'd go with Vieira, Jorginho, Havertz, and I'd go with Nelson, Nketiah, and Trossard. And it depends if Jesus is fit for the weekend. No, sorry, if he's not fit for the weekend, then I would
Eddie
sit
stays off.
Nketiah. Yeah, I'd take off Eddie.
Yeah. So prediction.
Prediction 2-0 to Arsenal away from home.
Yeah.
And it's
Glenn,
just a shame that because Declan Rice, I think they might play Rice in the last 10 minutes or so, but why? Why? He needs a
yeah,
rest.
yeah, they shouldn't even touch these guys because that's gonna be a tough game on the weekend. They're gonna be a tough game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I,
gonna go for 3-1.
you're going to go for 3-1.
Yeah.
Looking at Alex says, Apollo, you could say the same thing for Liverpool and Man City. They both have not hit top form. I can say that probably, and actually, no, I can't because I think Liverpool is playing some really good football. I think the Liverpool that you're seeing now is the Liverpool that
That you're
there
gonna get
is.
for the risk. Yeah,
That's gonna get
that's the ceiling. Yeah.
yeah. But for City, you've definitely got a point. You got a point because of Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
coming back.
just because of him. But that doesn't discount what Foden has been doing in the team. He's been fantastic for them. So
And you know what? One thing that I want to say is Rodri, after that red card, he's very unlikely to tackle another person because that red card probably made him think that he can't get another red card anytime soon because then they're gonna really go down. Um, and he's one of the guys that are being protected for so many reasons. I don't know why. I mean, Grealish yesterday. Um, I don't know. There was a sort of a tuggle between two players, and Grealish came and he hit the guy on the chest, and he walked away, and nobody said anything about it.
yeah, I know that's
If,
champions luck, isn't it? Yeah,
but I mean, the
that's
golden boy of England apparently
mm,
it's beyond. Yeah, I don't know. And Paul
it's
Tierney, it's
awful.
probably his favorite, eh?
Yeah.
So
It's awful, man.
I mean, there's so many things that we can still talk about the PGML and all the unnecessary things. And this weekend was pretty much a very clean weekend, if I may say, with perspective of the PGML. There's not a lot of talking points really. So yeah, I think they need to really do something there. I believe all the types of our Arsenal squad. Big question is whether Arteta can break from perceived favorite players and keep the performing players on without overthinking it. Who are you talking about, Colin? So you're probably talking about Havertz, Saka, Zinchenko. I'm sure that is probably three names that I can mention.
Yeah, I think the question is probably rhetorical in the sense that Arteta has been known to not rest Saka, not rest Odegaard, but he's done that. He's done it. So I think that the situation probably now turns to Pep Guardiola. Now Pep has been guilty, especially
Of
in the
that.
Champions League, of overthinking his strategies and coming out on the wrong end of it. So maybe there might be a case of that. But I have to say, Arteta is more defined in these philosophies than Pep is. Pep tries to do too much, and sometimes he goes over the bar and shoots himself in the foot. I haven't really seen Arteta do that. What Arteta likes to stick to his guns. He wants to dominate teams. He wants to tell you what he's going to do and dare you to stop it. And I think that sometimes that can be a strength. And what I've seen this season, which I didn't see last year, is this year I've seen a plan B, especially when it comes to playing Manchester City. I've seen
Mm.
him, and not just that, but United as well. When we played Man United and United was baiting us, Arteta stopped pressing them. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what's going on? And then he started to play counter press. Counter press is different than press, guys. So Arteta's shown me something different this year. He's growing as a manager. His man management is growing because he's starting to rest players and take care of them now. So I think those things look good. I'm not saying, Colin, that they're going to fix themselves, but I'm saying I've seen enough changes in Arteta to know that he's developing himself in that regard.
Another thing from me is, are we going to see Saliba being rested for Wednesday night? I hope so.
Yeah, me too, because Gabriel got his, and so it's only fair that you give it to Saliba.
And keep Kivio maybe on that side as well.
Mm.
Because he can play there. He's played there last season when Saliba was off sick, injured. So yeah, I'm hoping for Saliba also to get a bit of rest on Wednesday night, especially with a hell of a game on Saturday or Sunday at least. Because Gordon, he likes to come in and sort of come through the right centre half as well. So
But, but listen to us, Glenwyn. Here's the thing. This is what's making me smile. We're talking about Kivio, who's a quality centre back. We're talking about the likes of Tomiyashu. We're talking about Aaron Ramsdale. These guys are not even starting for our team. I
yeah,
mean, That's where we are right now. That's the quality of the team that we are. That we're talking about these players coming in and getting some time. That's incredible.
That is. I mean, we couldn't say those things the last two seasons. Last season specifically, where we needed it, we couldn't say really. Saliba's out injured. We can't bring in a. I mean, Rob Holding. Nothing. I don't have anything against Rob Holding. He's a squad player. He doesn't say anything. He just do what he asks. Obviously, Kivio was quite new still, and he couldn't really find his feet much. So now we have players that we can say that can go in there. Probably not the Saliba caliber, but for a backup, it's pretty decent. So it's a good problem to have at this stage. Apollo Liverpool need another centre back, and they'll be serious contenders. Look, they attacking the midfield. They are good, but if I mean, I had a bit of a debate the other day just before the rugby game final with a Liverpool's fan, a friend of mine, and he said that we don't have depth. And I said to him, "You're talking about depth. You're talking about your own team. I mean, who are you going to bring on like for like to sustain and maintain your season? You
Mm.
don't have a like for like player for Szoboszlai. You don't have a like for like player for what is that, McAllister. You don't have a like for like player for Luis Diaz, for Jota, for you don't have that. So
But
your best 11 at this stage is doing well, and there's one or two players that you can bring on, but not in your center. Your center still needs a bit of tweaking here and there. Obviously, their defense. So they don't have the strength that they had before. They don't have it.
but here's the joke, Glenwyn. I think, and this is where you know we've got a really good squad. I think that our backup players are probably good enough to challenge for top four. I'm not saying they will get top four. I'm saying they're
They
good
can
enough to
challenge.
challenge for the top
Mm,
four. That's where we are right now, guys. A lot of the guys who were starting last year and the year before that are actually on the bench. Yeah, let's put that into perspective. I think, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, that the backup players that we have at our club now are good enough to challenge for top four.
mm.
That's how far we've come.
I do not want to see a flop from any cup competitions, Apollo. The 10 chances, the 10 changes to last season's squad for the FA game type scenario will not be acceptable this year. Probably not.
Yeah,
But
that's a hard one, but you have to. There's an equation there, which is you've got to offset players being fresh versus which uh, uh,
which
ch-
players you bring in?
which you bring in, and then what you're prioritizing over, because the Premier League and the Champions League is our number one priority. So,
Correct.
and if we don't save that, then we won't be able to manage the squad. So you have to take the FA Cup and the League Cup with a pinch of salt, and hope that you can
That you
get to
get
the semi.
somewhere.
Yeah, because if you get to the semi-finals, then you can bring out the big guns. But unfortunately, we have to do the equation, and you've got to manage which is the competition that means the most to us as a team and a franchise, and that's the Premier League and the Champions League. And so that takes priority over anything. But yes, I do agree with you, but these things have to be managed on paper. And I believe that they're doing the
Yeah.
right thing.
And the symbol saying that Arteta didn't trust what's his face last season, but I think he was still young in the team, and having to look at how he builds, how he gets, how we sort of grow into the team as a whole, and how he filters in the practice sessions, all those type of things. And I think giving him a game against Sheffield United the other day, it was a brilliant move from his part, and giving him that confidence to again step up. And he did nothing wrong, in my opinion,
Yeah,
Kivio. And
yeah.
coming into a position where if we have to sort of rest Saliba, I'm sure he would be able to contain and help Gabriel on that side. So
Mm.
I don't think it's going to be a much. It's going to be much of a unless, I mean, we can't foresee anything happen, but unless there is really a good press from West Ham, I don't see much going wrong in the backline if he should play.
I agree, and this is all predicated on what type of team are West Ham going to put out. Because remember, guys, West Ham are also in Europe as well, so all these things have to be managed. My only thing there would be that David Moyes would be unhappy about the loss to Everton on the weekend, and sometimes in this situation, managers tend to punish players by playing them again in a game that they really don't want to play in. So we'll have to see what happens here. We have to see what happens on Wednesday's team sheet.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, they are under pressure, and also with especially Paqueta. Paqueta, since the City link, his game for West Ham has not been the best.
Mm-hmm.
He's really dropped off a bit, and I mean, you could see it in. I mean, the other day as well. He's very physical. He went in for what reason? So I think his mindset is not right, and if Moyes doesn't see it and doesn't do anything about it, he will get a red card in a game very soon, because I mean he's becoming very frustrated figure on the pitch, that is,
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that frustration can come through on our game if he plays on Wednesday, that that he can show some sort of remorse on the next couple of games.
yeah,
Um, I think, Apollo, we've come to that end. We were really supposed to start at 7:30, and now it's 11 for me. It's 9 for you.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, any last bit of statements from your side?
No, not for me, guys. It's just just a shout out to everybody, and thank you for all of those guys who are giving their players their flowers. Um, lots of guys, lots of praise I'm hearing for Eddie over the weekend, Tomiyashu, Vieira, and the respect that uh, Declan Rice is getting. So it's really good to hear you guys back your players and show the respect and give them their flowers. It's just a shame that we have a section of the fan base, and they are a minority. They're not a majority. It's just a shame that we just don't have them giving some of our players their flowers. But you guys just keep supporting the team, keep raising that flag and fighting that good fight, and we'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm hoping for a good game on Wednesday night for the second stream team, if that is even a thing with a backup team. Let me put it that way. So yeah, and are you gonna have a live session on the
Wednesday.
weekend?
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing a watch along for the West Ham game on Wednesday on Arsenal 101. Actually, it's 101 on Arsenal, and we're gonna be doing the Newcastle game as well. We're gonna be doing the watch along for that as well.
Great stuff. All right. Again, Alex is obviously on holiday. He's not going to be this whole week. He's not going to be on the air on Cannon Fodder TV,
You'll be back
but
soon, though.
he will be back soon next
Yeah.
week. I will be on the Easy Talk host driver's seat on Friday night. Yeah, Alex, you might not have a job when you come back.
Oh, he's done a great job, Glenn. You've done an absolutely great job.
Thank you, man.
Fantastic job.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys, the guys in the chat, the people that's probably gonna still watch. And this is Guna Matters Glenwin, aka obviously streaming simultaneously with Cannon Fodder. Thanks a lot again for your input, and thank you for supporting the stream. And of course, as you heard, Arsenal of 101 at Arsenal. I like to pop in at times when there's a live stream. Very good content. And of course, Glenn Kitely from us Everything Arsenal couldn't make it tonight because of technical situations. And like this, like Apollo said, is the gremlins of what is it? What
Halloween.
is Halloween? Yeah, the Halloween gremlins. Stay safe, guys. Tomorrow it's obviously that time of the year where all the unnecessary things are going to happen. I'm not sure how Halloween is in your countries, but stay safe, be blessed, and God bless you. Thank you for watching.
Excellent, guys.